everyone. So, Blizzard have announced that the Avoid This Player feature is going to be killed off. You will no longer be able to mark a player, either on your friends list or someone you've played against previously, as someone you no longer want to play against. Now, the reason they've done this is because it was screwing up matchmaking. Essentially, what someone had done, or a large number of people had done, is located all of the people who are very good at Overwatch, those top tier players, and essentially said, avoid this player. Now what that essentially does is means that for those players who are top tier, they were having to sit in the matchmaking queue for a ridiculous length of time. Obviously that was no good for Blizzard, no good for the player base, and no good for those top tier players. I am all in favour of a feature that makes trolling less easy to do in any online game. This certainly seemed to be a good solution to me, and when I saw the feature I thought, oh, that's actually well thought out, at least there's something there at launch. The question is, what are Blizzard going to replace this with? Or are we now opening the floodgates? Because on one side, yes, having those top tier players being included, getting to play games, not having long queue times is important. On the other hand, what about the rest of the player base? It's all well and good that the 1%ers having now ability to matchmake correctly, etc., no long queue times, but there's 99% of people now that have essentially lost a feature that may actually have been preventing them from getting abuse on Blizzard's system. For my mind, I'd expect to see Blizzard come up with something else actually here. I don't think it's good enough to remove the feature without at very least investigating if there's another way they can actually deal with this problem. But what do you think? Is this going to cause problems for Overwatch over its lifetime? Or do you think that, obviously, making sure those elite players can play the game fairly regularly, not sitting there in half-hour queue times, etc., where do you stand on this? I think it's going to be an interesting one, and I think it's an issue that the community itself is probably going to have to direct Blizzard on how we want this one dealing with.